Okay, so this is going to be probably a kind of quick follow on to the last video, which was on my self-love journal, which is kind of a brand spanking new journal thing that I'm keeping. First of all, I mentioned in that video that I'm not keeping my 2014 kind of daily planner type diary anymore. For a while I had these daily planners that had like a page for each day of the year, and I had this thing where I was like, oh, I have to write in it, I have to write in that little page every day. And at first I thought it was a good thing that it got me into the habit of journaling, and after a while I realised that it was just not a really productive thing to do at all. I would feel guilty if I didn't. I would feel like I had to go back and fill in days, and then even when I did write, it would always just be really perfunctory and pointless and just very matter of fact, like, oh, today was a bad day because of this, or this happened, or this good thing happened, or, you know, whatever. And I found that whenever if I found myself looking back over them, it didn't really make me feel very good, and the negative seemed to be coming out more than the positive, because that always felt like more important to write down, like, oh, I was feeling tired today, or oh, I had a fight with my boyfriend, or whatever. And I just found that like they just weren't doing me any good at all. And I basically chucked that a while ago now, and I did start kind of journaling more in my regular journal. So that is something that I am still keeping. I still have my trusty Moleskine. I'm onto a new one now, and I'm kind of most of the way through that. So this is my general diary. Sorry if I'm looking in over there a lot. I've got like a thing set up so I can see the monitor, so I know that I'm actually putting things in view for you guys. So yeah, I always keep a Moleskine. For years and years now I've always kept a Moleskine, which is like a general diary, so I'm still doing that. Since I started my self-love journal, I don't have as much need to write here, because a lot of things that I would write here I end up writing in my self-love journal. But my self-love journal is kind of more for if I just want to like delve into something and it's not really coming from a self-love or gratitude perspective. I just want to kind of get into the nitty-gritty details of something that happened, or what's going on with somebody, or a situation in my life or something, then I will grab this. And usually when I write here these days, it is quite lengthy, it's quite extensive. For a while I was recording dreams in this, but that's what I'll get on to next. But I stopped because I was doing this thing where I left like the opposite page blank, because I wanted to be able to go back and write notes on the margins if I, you know, on the opposite page if I wanted to. But after a while I just felt like I was wasting pages and pages of a perfectly good Moleskine, so I stopped doing that. And yeah, so this is something that I didn't do the last time I made a video on my journals. I started keeping a separate system for taking notes in my dreams. So this is something that I've been doing now for maybe 6 months. I had one particular dream, and honestly I think it has probably been pretty transformative in my life. At the time I just thought it was an inconvenient kind of dream. I was like, oh, what was that? That's making me feel things I didn't want to feel. And I just kind of wrote it down, and then it went from there. I just started writing down my dreams. I was reading more about Jung at the time, and generally just about inner work and stuff like that. I was reading a book about dreams, so it kind of just fell together well for me at the time that I thought, yeah, I want to start recording my dreams on a regular basis again. But this is my dream journal. It's hideous. Basically the reason for this is that I realised I already cart around so many things with me from place to place. So I have 3 of these. Well, 2 of them are here now, and one of them is my parents' house, and the third one was in my boyfriend's apartment, because I realised that I just have so much stuff that I need to cart with me from house to house, that the last thing I needed was like another journal to have to carry with me everywhere and to remember to carry with me everywhere. So I decided that what I would do is just have one of these in each house. I can happily write on one side of the page. I know this is like, you know, I'm killing loads of trees, but I swear to God I will actually go back and write on the other side of the page someday. I haven't yet, to be honest, but dream interpretation is just not something that's been on my to-do list. I know I'll come to it when I feel like I'm ready to, if you know what I mean. So what I do is I write my dream very messily, because my handwriting in the morning is terrible, and I'm trying to write fast because I've got to get up and do my stuff and go to work, and then I leave the back blank. And the idea is that I go, and when I filled up all 3 of these A4 sheets, I will pull out the pages, put them in a binder, and then I'll have like the page opposite each page that I can write notes on, if you see what I mean. So that's what I've been doing. Like I say, they're horrible, but I'm going to have a pretty folder to put them in, and I think maybe once I fill them all up, which is going to happen fairly soon, I will go back and start working on them if I can read my handwriting, if it makes any sense whatsoever. So another new journal now that I have started, well, it's not that new. I think I started it March 2014. But I don't think I was using this when I made my last, no I wasn't, when I made my last video about journals. So this is my, I don't really have a name for it. We'll call it a book of mirrors. I think that's the closest kind of paganish, Wiccanish kind of term that I could use to describe what this is. It's essentially my book of my spiritual religious practice. Again, like I said about my self-love journal, you know, I just write in journals, like it's nothing very exciting. So this is just text, this is just like handwritten writing, and I do sort of sometimes plan out rituals, like I will write in a poem that I want to use, or I will write poetry and stuff for ritual, but mostly it's just like responses to rituals. If I have an experience, if I do path working, if I do active imagination, anything like that, then I will write it in this. I've really written very little in this, and I really want to start finding the time and dedicating more time to this, because, you know, it's been since March and I've hardly written anything in it at all, which is really quite shameful. So this is something that I definitely want to be working on more, and I definitely also want to get more into like printing things out and sticking them in here and stuff, because yeah, I want it to be a kind of more exciting, kind of joyful place that I can go and, you know, muse around things that I'm thinking of incorporating into my practice, and experiences with deities and stuff like that. But I guess like my spiritual practice for the last 9 months has been, it's been really central to my life. It's there a lot, but mostly it's just meditation. Like I meditate twice a day. I have a specific kind of meditation and words of devotion that I go through in the morning for the Morrigan. I talked about that, and I might make another video if I feel like I need to about that. And then I just do kind of just a meditation on the breath in the evening. And then I do ritual for the Sabbaths and sometimes for the full and dark moon if I actually have the time. But honestly, for the last 9 months, like my spiritual practice has been, it's just been kind of going along in the same way. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's been my rock, absolutely has been my rock, but it hasn't been like, it hasn't been as exciting and new things happening, and it's been, not, I don't want to say humdrum, but it's been kind of the same. It's samey, but that's okay for the moment. That's what I've needed. Like the last 9 months have been crazy, even crazier than the previous 9 months probably. So then beyond that, I think we're just looking at journals that I already had before this. I've been writing about the Wild Unknown. This is my kind of Wild Unknown tarot journal. And honestly, like I still have the same little tarot journal that I had a year ago. I don't think I've written in it for like a year, because whenever I'm journaling about tarot these days, I either kind of journal about the Wild Unknown, because that's usually the deck that I reach for when I'm kind of, I don't know, doing kind of contemplations about tarot these days, or I'll just write in my regular journal, because it's very personal these days. Like whenever I start journaling about tarot, it's all about my inner stuff and what's going on and stuff like that. So I haven't really felt the need for another kind of dedicated tarot journal, but that will probably change as well, I'm sure. And then I still have my, this is just a throw in a bag kind of journal. It's, maybe it is actually, no, it's not quite full, but I haven't really been carrying this around so much either. This was largely planning for Heart Story before I opened, and I should really keep using that, but that's technically still on the go. So yeah, I think that's about it. Those are all my current journals. Yeah, I really think that when it comes to journaling, and journaling about your spiritual practice, and journaling about whatever you want to be journaling about, I really feel like just do it your own way. I think there's a lot of people can feel very sort of inadequate about their journaling style. They feel like they don't write enough, or that they're not artistic enough. You know, if you're not like painting around the edges and pasting things in, you can kind of feel like, oh, I'm not doing it right. But you know, I think that's bullshit. I'm calling my own bullshit on that, to be honest. Like I'm really bad for that, for feeling like I'm just not a good enough journal keeping person because it's not exciting. But I think that's absolutely fine. Like whatever you feel drawn to do, your journaling practice should be just whatever comes most naturally to you, I think. And I definitely would love if my journaling practice encouraged me to to get back into my more kind of visual artistic temperament. But honestly, I tend to be very like, I'm either doing something or I'm not. Like I'm never sort of kind of doodling away in the background. It's always like one thing or another. Like I've hardly touched a musical instrument or a paintbrush in years, and I know it's something that I will come back to, and I did start a new painting of the Morrigan recently that I want to finish, but I've learned to not beat myself up about that and not put myself under pressure to be like doing art and stuff like that, because it's like I'm writing fiction, I'm writing on Heart Story, I don't feel like I have a dearth of creative output. And I just feel like at the moment I need to put on my spiritual practice as well. I absolutely see that as a creative outlet as well, completely. So yeah, for the moment I feel like I don't have the energy necessarily, like my energy reserves are all being used, so I don't really have the energy to be like getting back into a habit of doing like visual art, fine art, drawing, painting, what have you. So yeah, but I would just say that, I would say like, don't have expectations of yourself as to what kind of journaling kind of person you're going to be, or what your journal should look like or should be or whatever. Just do it. Just, if you know, do whatever the hell you want to do with it. That's like, at the end of the day, nobody's supposed to be looking at it anyway, are they? Like, it's supposed to be private. So yeah, okay, I think that's about it, guys. I hope you had a really wonderful, I feel really weird saying this on the 19th of December, but I hope you had a really wonderful Christmas and solstice, and I will talk to you again soon.